Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I have learned as I have grown into the person that I am today. And the other day, I brought back the Melody Beatty meditation books, and people seem to love them, so I thought that I would read another meditation today and see what the universe is trying to tell us. So today is, February 12th, and let's go to the language of letting go, which is the sister book to Codependent No More. I love this book so much. You guys know this is my favorite meditation book of life. I love Miss Melody Beatty. If she knew how she had helped me, how she had saved my life through the years. Okay. This is a good one. Oh, it's a long one too. You know what's so funny is, the last year, well, I've been telling stories over here for a while, so just to put this out there, if you guys have any questions or topics that you would like me to address over here based on my personal experience, let me know in the comment section below. But I've been focusing more on this book, Journey to the Heart by Melody Beatty, instead of this one. So some of these, I don't remember, and I don't read these as much anymore because I used to read them on video so much that I've been reading other meditation books in my personal life. Okay, so I don't remember this one, but it's called Letting Go of Those Not in Recovery, February 12th. It's like a page and a half, 2 pages, you guys, it's long. So, all right, Letting Go of Those Not in Recovery, February 12th. We can go forward with our life and recoveries even though someone we love is not yet recovering. Picture a bridge. I love analogies, don't you? On one side of the bridge, it is cold and dark. We stood there with others in the cold and darkness, doubled over in pain. Some of us developed an eating disorder to cope with the pain. Some drank. Some used other drugs. Some of us lost control of our sexual behavior. Some of us obsessively focused on addicted people's pain to distract us from our own pain. Many of us did both. We developed an addictive behavior and distracted ourselves by focusing on other addicted people. We did not know there was a bridge. We thought we were trapped on a cliff. Then some of us got lucky. Our eyes opened by the grace of God because it was time. We saw the bridge. People told us what was on the other side, warmth, light, and healing from our pain. We could barely glimpse or imagine this, but we decided to start the trek across the bridge anyway. We tried to convince the people around us on the cliff that there was a bridge to a better place, but they wouldn't listen. They couldn't see it. They couldn't believe. They were not ready for the journey. We decided to go alone because we believed and because people on the other side were cheering us onward. The closer we got to the other side, the more we could see and feel that what we had been promised was real. There was light, warmth, healing, and love. The other side was a better place. But now there is a bridge between us and those on the other side. Sometimes we may get tempted to go back and drag them over with us, but it cannot be done. No one can be dragged or forced to cross this bridge. Each person must go at his or her own choice when the time is right. Some will come, some will stay on the other side. The choice is not ours. We can love them, we can wave to them, we can holler back and forth, we can cheer them on, as others have cheered and encouraged us. But we cannot make them come over with us. If our time has come to cross the bridge, or if we have already crossed and are standing in the light and warmth, we do not have to feel guilty. It is where we are meant to be. We do not have to go back to the dark cliff because another's time has not yet come. The best thing we can do is stay in the light because it reassures others that there is a better place. And if others ever do decide to cross the bridge, we will be there to cheer them on. Today I will move forward with my life despite what others are doing or not doing. I will know it is my right to cross the bridge to a better life, even if I must leave others behind to do that. I will not feel guilty. I will not feel ashamed. I know that where I am now is a better place and where I'm meant to be. Wow. So interesting because I'm just going to talk completely openly. I just did a drama video about Eugenia Cooney. And in all honesty, the video went in a completely different direction than I thought it would. And I talked a lot about recovery and addiction in there and things like that, and it's interesting reading this meditation and talking about getting sober and the people that we leave behind, or getting healthy. It talks in here about an eating disorder, getting healthy in whatever journey that we're going on, and that there are people that aren't ready to get healthy with us and we have to leave them behind. That was a really hard lesson for me to learn, So let me just share a couple stories with you. When I first got sober, I can remember wanting so many people around me to get it. I can remember thinking to myself, let me be an example. I mean, I didn't really hang around with the people anymore because I wasn't going out to bars and clubs for a while, but I thought, let me be an example, and maybe some of these people that were using as hardcore as I was, drugs and alcohol, maybe they'll get it. Maybe they'll get help. And they didn't, you know. Many of them died. I've had many friends of mine from when I was using back in the day that have passed away. And years ago, passed away 20 some years ago, you know. And I had many friends of mine that put themselves in disastrous situations, many of which people got worse, and many of them are still out there today, still actively using, even worse than the depths that they were in back then. I have a few friends of mine that actually kind of just left that world, and I do think that, like, one of them, and it was one of my friends that came to visit me in treatment, even though I didn't want anybody to visit me in treatment when I was in there on Christmas Day. And he went on to get his master's degree and moved, like, to another part of town and, like, ended up buying a house and just kind of, like, left that world. And I do believe that, like, my going through what I went through was kind of an end to him. I've shared several times that when I was in treatment, like, and talking to him and his roommate that came to visit me, like, I was hearing about all these people that were visiting in town, and I was like, the party is over, and I didn't even realize it. And I think by me getting sober, I think he realized the party was over, too. And so he's, like, the one person that kind of stepped away, never got sober. I don't know that he needed to. I don't know that he was an addict or an alcoholic, you know? Harder than that, though, I think, is that as I have been in therapy through the years and done really extensive work on myself, set limits and boundaries with toxic and negative people, you know, tried to rid myself of negativity, focus on positivity, and really try to improve myself, I've changed. People don't necessarily like change. It's uncomfortable to them. I've had a lot of people that, as I've gotten healthier, I was going to say, well, maybe not a lot, but actually it has been quite a lot through the years. I'd say through the last 10 years. I've had quite a few people that wanted to box me in and put me in a box of how they expected me to behave and act and put me on a shelf and keep me there. As I changed, as I started to stand up for myself, as I started to communicate my beliefs and stand up for my principles and what I believed in, I no longer fit inside that box for them anymore. And that was uncomfortable because I was growing out of that box and I couldn't fit on that shelf. And then what do you do with this person that no longer fits on a box on a shelf that they don't want you anymore, right? And then it wasn't so much like, I'm so happy that you're changing and you're growing and you're coming into your own. It was, what's wrong with you? You're not the person that I knew you to be. And that was scary to me because I was afraid that I was going to lose those people. I was afraid that, well, what happens if, like, you know, they go away and they don't want to be around me anymore because I've changed, you know? And what happened was that my friend group dwindled greatly. I mean, I'm talking about from, like, having, let's say, 10 really good friends to having, like, 2 really good friends. But I started meeting new people. I started meeting new people at meetings and, you know, in other places that had like thinking, that had like principles, and had like beliefs. And so I started, you know, I've been a person for a long time, ever since I came out as being gay, that, you know, heard the terms family of origin and family of choice. I'm such a believer in family of choice, and that we have family of choice that includes friends of ours and coworkers and, you know, neighbors and things like that. And I started developing a family of choice that really thought and believed similar to myself, that had the same points of view, the same belief systems, you know? I no longer had to challenge and have arguments, you know, with people that I consider friends of mine anymore, you know? It's interesting because I was having a conversation with my friend Tanya the other day. We were talking about people, like, not, like, having differences of opinion. And she said, you know, we've had many, many differences of opinion in the 27 years that we've been best friends. 27 years we've been best friends, right? We've had many opposing points of views, many differences of opinions, right? But we always educate each other. And I might walk away from the conversation and go, thank you for opening my eyes to that. Or she might say the same thing, right? And it's not about always agreeing with everybody. It's about being open to their shared experience and what they have to share with you, right? But I no longer in my life today am at a point where I can have people in my life that fundamentally do not have the core principles and feelings about the world that I have. And I'm talking about love and kindness and certain belief systems that I have. I no longer can have that in my life. There are certain things, and just a few, that I believe in so fundamentally in my heart and soul that I can't have people in my life that oppose that. I'm not talking about an opinion. I'm talking about a belief that stand firmly in that, okay? For example, people that think that I'm going to hell for being gay, okay? Or that I'm an abomination. I can't have those people in my life, right? Like, I guess you have a right to your belief system and your choice, but I don't need it in my life. I just don't. I can't have it around me. It's not healthy for me. I don't need it. And no amount of talking in the world is going to change your opinion, and you're not going to change mine. And it wouldn't be healthy for you to change mine anyway, right? So I don't have those people in my life anymore. But that was hard for me, you know? And what I had to realize was that I had to say goodbye to some people in my life. I had to be willing to say goodbye to some friendships in my life, some relationships that maybe had outgrown their season, you know? That I was holding on to those relationships for weird reasons, you know, that I couldn't even identify anymore because they weren't positive, they weren't healthy. I wasn't gaining anything from them. They weren't gaining anything from me. They weren't healthy relationships anymore, you know? And they were the people that would say, you've changed, and not in a good way. When other people that I loved and adored were like, oh my God, I can see the growth in you. You're calmer now. You're serene. You're more peaceful, right? And then an hour later, I'd have a conversation with those people and be like, why aren't you getting riled up about this? Because I don't want to get riled up about it anymore. I don't. I want peace and serenity in my life. I don't want somebody dragging me down just because you want me to feel the same pain that I feel you. You know, I remember like my dad said that to me years ago. I called him up and I was like, ah. And he said to me, he goes, are you calling me because you want a solution? Or are you calling me? I mean, this is like 20 years ago. He said, are you calling me because you want me to feel the same pain that you're feeling right now? Because if that's what this is, I'm getting off the phone. And you know, that was a powerful moment for me, not just in learning that I was doing that, right? Because I was venting to my dad because I was pissed, and I wanted somebody else to be pissed too, you know? But that's honest, right? But what I realized was there's so many people like that are so mad at the world that they want you to suffer because they are not living the right life. Well, do the work. I don't know what to tell you. I had to do the work on myself, but don't drag me down with you, you know, because you're miserable in your life experience. I'm sorry that you are. I don't want anybody to be miserable. I don't want anybody to be unhappy, but that's not fair because you're miserable and unhappy. And do the work then. I can tell you, like this meditation said, there is a bridge. Cross it. Go to the warmth. Go to the light. You know? Do the work on yourself to get to the other side so that you can look at the world with love, kindness, and compassion in your eyes. You know? I've always believed, especially ever since being online, that if I were going to come and share my story, my job was only to plant the seed. You know? It was never to convince somebody to get healthy, no matter if I was talking about sobriety or addiction, OCD, social anxiety, marriage counseling, grief, no matter what I was talking about, coming out as being gay, whatever I was talking about, my job was always to plant the seed. My job was always to share my story. It's just one person's story. You know, there's a million people out there that are sober from drugs and alcohol, and everybody has done it in a different way. There's a million stories out there. Mine's just one of them. And I always just felt like my job was to plant the seed, you know? I made it to the other side of the bridge, lay down the seed. If somebody wants to hear my story, they're going to listen to it, you know? And that's all I can do. But sometimes I have to say goodbye to those people that are no longer healthy for me. And that's okay, you know? It's okay to say goodbye. Anyway, I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.